Hey everybody, this is Avish Parashar from MotivationalSmartass.com. And what I want to talk about today are two powerful attitudes that when combined create a mindset that in my experience really determines your level of success. And I learned these two mindsets from my experience directing various improv comedy groups over the years, and then I've seen them applied to other areas. These two mindsets are your willingness to have fun and your willingness to fail, your willingness to mess things up. Have fun, be willing to fail. I have found that people who adopt those two mindsets, those two beliefs, really excel very, very quickly at any endeavor they try. I learned this while I was doing improv, and I ran my own group. I also worked as a director and facilitator of another group, and I was director of a group in college. So I've seen a lot of different improv groups. And what I found is when I originally held auditions, I'd be looking for people with resumes, with experience, with technical skills. But what I found is the people who seemed to excel the most, who got good the fastest, were not necessarily the ones who had a lot of prior training, but rather the ones who came in with these two mindsets. If they came in and just were having fun and willing to have fun, and they were willing to take risks and mess it up, and they're okay. It's how they handle that failure if they're okay messing it up. People who could have those two mindsets were the ones who would get good very quickly. And, when I originally held auditions, I used to do based on skills, and then later on, all I would really do is look for those traits. Does this person look like they're a fun person, like they're able to have fun? And are they willing to mess it up? Are they cool? How do you deal with failure? Because that way, how they deal with failure also dictates how well they take direction. Because the people who don't deal with failure well are usually the ones who are the worst at taking direction. So those two traits. And so there's a lesson in there for you about hiring practices, right? If you hire people, you need a base level of skill, but also look at those two attitudes. How willing are they to fail and learn from those failures? And how willing are they just to have fun and enjoy what they do? But this is not a lesson in hiring. This is a lesson for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a chart for you. So imagine we have a graph. And on the bottom, we have fun. And over here, we have failure, fail. And by fail, I mean willingness. Okay, you probably can't read that because my handwriting's bad enough as it is. But your willingness to fail, let's put a big F-A, and let's put a big, well, say F-U, but you know what I mean by that. So now, what we're saying is the more fun you're willing to have and the more fun you bring to something and the more willing you are to fail, the better you do. So we divide this into 4 quadrants. This is quadrant 1, where if you are unwilling to fail, this is where your willingness to fail is low and your fun is low. This is where, if you think about any activity that you struggle with, that you aren't that good at, you don't like doing, you don't get better at, that's holding you back, this is probably in that area. For example, I hate cold calling, okay, like many people, but when I think about why, because when I think about it, it doesn't seem fun to me. I don't feel like it's going to be fun. And because it's a sales thing, because I'm trying to make money off of it, I'm not really willing to fail. I don't like that rejection. It makes me feel bad. It makes me feel like, oh man, I'm not getting business. So that falls squarely in there. So think about something you don't like and are not good at, don't excel at. It's in that area. Okay? Now, I know some people who enjoy cold calling. So for them, it'd be over here. And they also, they don't mind the rejection. I don't understand this mentality that salespeople have. But they're like, oh, I love getting a no because I know 1 in 10 goes. So every no is just one step closer to a yes. Like, hey, that works for you. That puts them up here. Before we get to that one, these two are a little tougher. But let's say something that you have a willingness to fail at, but you don't have much fun at. Like you don't go into it thinking, oh man, I don't want to mess this up. For me, for example, I've written on my blog, motivationalsmartass.com, about how I don't like to teach kids. And I have taught kids improv, I have taught them karate, and I just don't enjoy it. Now, I'm willing to fail because, frankly, I don't care if it doesn't go well. And I've done it enough that I know I can do it. I have skill at it. I'm good at it. In fact, people afterwards, when I tell them how much I hate it, they look at me, they're like, oh, but you're so good. I'm like, well, yeah, just because I can, that doesn't mean I want to. So that puts me squarely in this category. I'm willing to fail. I don't mind failure. I go into it, that's fine. but it's just not fun for me. And this is a dangerous arena because this is where you'll get sucked into doing things that you don't love, that don't serve you. These things that slowly chip away at your self-esteem, your confidence, your life, basically. So be wary of being stuck in that category. Over here, let's call this category 1. Let's call this category 2. This will be category 3. These are things you have fun at, but you're not willing to fail at. And this is not a terrible category. You can adjust this one easy. Here's an example. Let's say playing poker in Atlantic City. I like playing poker. I really have a lot of fun. I love playing with my friends when we're playing with $5 buy-ins. In Atlantic City with a $100 buy-in, I get much more tense. I'm not willing to fail as much, unless I've gone with that bankroll. So this is not a terrible area, but your performance suffers when you do something that, in fact, you start having less fun at it. So this is not a terrible category. If you're willing to have fun at something, and you do have fun at it, but you're not willing to fail, you're going to tighten up. It's going to decrease your fun. It's still going to decrease your performance. So I actually play poker better when there are less stakes on the line, which is true for many people, right? I mean, that's what separates a professional basketball player from a really good amateur. I mean, they both might be amazing, but when you're just playing pickup basketball at the playground, your willingness to fail is much higher. But when you have a $1 million contract and the championship's on the line, how well do you perform in that? So that's what's in that category. Category 4, this is the money one. This is the one you want to get to. This is where you are having fun and willing to fail. Think about anything you excel at. What are you really good at? Chances are when you think about that activity, you think about having fun doing it, and you don't obsess about failure. Like, okay, well, I might mess up. So for me, this is improv comedy is one, performing improv. And improv is inherently a risky endeavor. You don't know what the audience is going to say. You don't have good prep. You don't know what your partners are going to say. So this is kind of there's a lot of failure there, but I'm willing to fail. Number one, I don't worry about this fear of failure. Number one, because I've done it so much, I have confidence in myself. So that's one way of getting to this category. Number two is I know going in that if it messes up, you just move on. And I've been in enough improv shows where it's failed. And it's like, all right, well, not that I failed a lot in improv, but it happens. And you realize that life goes on. So the more willing you are to fail, and obviously improv for me is fun. So this is the category you want to get to. Now, what you want to do is think of your activities. You want to use this double mentality in 2 ways. And I'm going to move this. Just remember, fun and failure. You want to use this mentality in 2 ways. Number one, think about the goal you're trying to achieve. Think about your long goal. When you think about it, think about how it makes you feel. And does it seem fun to you? And how afraid are you of failing? Now, when it comes to our long goals, maybe it's something about raising a family or doing good for our kids or paying off our bills or buying a house. I mean, these are important things. I'm not saying that I'm not saying failure is okay. What I'm saying is you have to accept the possibility of failure so that it loses power over you. That's how you move it. I hate failing in an improv comedy sense, right? I hate failing if I'm on stage and people have paid to see me. I mean, that's a bad thing. But I'm willing to do it because I know life will go on. So when you think about your goal, how much willingness you have fun, how willing are you to fail? And number two is when you think about all the activities you have set up, your to-do list for the day, your path you've set up to lead you to that goal. For each activity, when you think about it, how much fun do you associate with it? How willing are you to mess it up? And what you need to do then is look at the goals and the tasks. If you are not having fun and being willing to fail on both of those, then you have to do one of 2 things. You have to either change the goal or activity, or you have to change how you think about it. So if you have, like, for example, for me, cold calling, it's not fun for me, and I am not willing to fail. I had 2 options. I could either change my beliefs around the cold calling, or I could change the activity. I chose to change the activity, so I moved cold calling off of my marketing list and moved in other things I do enjoy and I'm willing to fail at, like writing and showcase speaking and networking. Well, the network is a whole other one for me. So think about your goals, think about your tasks. How much fun are you willing to have? How willing are you to fail? If both of those aren't high, if not in that number 4 category, change how you think about it, right? Reframe the thought process, use techniques like, I don't know, whatever, NLP, affirmations, just logic, whatever you need to do to change your beliefs, or change the activity to find one that is fun for you and that you are willing to mess up. Once you do those 2 things, you will see your performance, your productivity, and your improvement increase very, very rapidly. Okay, so go do those things, have fun, be willing to fail. For more great information, more videos, and more written blog posts, check out www.motivationalsmartass.com. Thank you.